When I was a kid, we used to hold newspaper drives to raise money for the Boy Scouts or the youth group. Somebody's dad would drive around in a truck and we'd throw the bundles in the back. We didn't know we were recycling because people didn't talk much about the environment, let alone sustainability. We thought it was just fun to ride in the back of a truck. Well, Anne-Marie Berger tonight has a story about just how far we've come and where people are taking all of this.
People are thinking, acting, and living differently than generations before. The reduce, reuse, and recycle concept has been around for quite some time, but the green movement in the last decade or so has motivated and made it easier for people to live a more sustainable lifestyle, meaning that by meeting our needs today won't compromise the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. But sustainability is even greater than recycling a can over and over again. It expands past environmental consciousness. Sustainability is motivating people to think about social responsibility.
Social responsibility is working and living in a way that celebrates the dignity and worth of all persons and the environment.
Social responsibility includes the way someone would work with employees, customers, and suppliers in terms of treating them well. You may have heard it referred to as living wage, true cost, and fair trade.
These are all fair trade products.
On this Sunday at St. Francis Xavier College Church on SLU's campus, they're selling fair trade products, such as coffee and gift cards, as a way to promote the fair trade movement.
The fair trade movement, which began about 60 years ago, is really focused on helping to elevate those people in what we would call developing world areas, third world countries, and then bringing those goods or those agricultural items produced to the United States or to Europe or to developed world or first world countries, current terms, so that they can be sold and that they're sold in a fair trade way.
So what's a fair trade way? Well, basically it means that the individuals who are producing the products that you purchase are being paid a fair dollar amount for their work.
Coffee is a great one to look at. If you look at who actually gets paid the portion of what you as a consumer are paying for your coffee, the person who's growing it and who touches the coffee and who spends the most time with it gets paid the least amount of money.
And no one knows the importance of a fair trade than Dr. Wilman Ortega.
Whenever we get coffee from Guatemala, we also look at the quality of the green beans.
Dr. Ortega, a physician at St. Louis University Hospital, is a third-generation coffee farmer from Guatemala.
My mission is to help coffee farm towns in Guatemala.
Back in the 1930s, his grandfather began growing coffee in La Industria, a small coffee farming village located in the mountains. His family dedicated their lives to the business until civil war in the 1970s forced them to abandon their farm.
So the coffee towns were abandoned until recently when they signed peace in Guatemala several years ago. Now people are coming back to the coffee farming towns.
Including his mother. About 5 years ago, she returned to the family farm and began growing coffee. It takes about 3 years from the time the seeds are planted until the first few beans of coffee can be harvested. But when his mother went to the local market to sell her first few pounds of coffee, the 3 years of work didn't seem worth it.
When you found out that your mother was only getting 14 cents for a pound of coffee, what did you think?
I was sad, I was outraged because my mom had told me how hard it was. She was carrying the coffee beans on her shoulder with my grandpa on the rainy days, and it was just kind of heartbreaking for me to realize that, and I knew I had to do something about it.
Ortega didn't just want to help his coffee farming family, he wanted to help his entire village of coffee farmers. So in 2007, he founded Beans for Hope, and from a small office in Clayton and one employee, Ortega plans to establish a sustainable lifestyle for current and future generations in Guatemala by ensuring more than fair trade.
We bring coffee directly from Guatemala from small-scale coffee farmers. We pay fair trade prices, actually higher than fair trade prices. The current fair trade prices are about $1.31 a pound, I believe. We go way beyond that, even $1 higher than that.
So the person who is producing the coffee in this example, they're being paid a fair wage for their coffee, and that wage should include the ability for them to have food, water, clothing, shelter, opportunity for education for their children, and also health care, and an opportunity for savings. So it's the ability to pull yourself up out of poverty.
To ensure that happens, Beans for Hope donates a portion of their sales to the local school.
We sell a pound of coffee, and depending if it's wholesale or final retail, we donate between $1 and 50 cents to the school project to help them with bathrooms, and there's a whole bunch of needs that they have that we want to meet. I truly believe that education is the way out of poverty. In Guatemala is a very poor country, and the literacy rate is between 20 and 30%. And we'd like to change that. We'd like to give kids an opportunity to develop themselves and look for a better future.
Just as we recycle more and use less, there is a rise in the conscious consumer who are not only concerned with the function and quality of their purchase, but whether those who had a hand in making it are getting a fair wage and realizing the connection between their world and ours.